Welcome to Clue 3 of our Summer 2024 Mystery Quilt. For today's clue, you will need the medium light and dark fabrics. Check your fabric key to make sure you're using the right fabrics. From the medium lights, cut 3 strips that are 4 1/4 inches by the width of fabric. I'm using a variety of fabrics for my medium light, so I'm going to cut 1 strip from each of the 3 fabrics I've chosen. Once you have the strips cut, you'll need to stack them to make the subcuts. I will cut one of the strips in half at the fold, so when I stack them, each stack will have 3 layers of fabric. Subcut into 24 squares that measure 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Carefully move the stacks to keep them together. You want to have a little bit of space around each stack. Bisect each stack of squares twice, corner to corner, for 96 triangles. From the dark fabric, cut 3 strips that are 4 1/4 inches by the width of fabric. We will cut the dark fabric the same way that we cut the medium lights. Stack the strips and then subcut into 24 squares that measure 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Bisect each stack of squares twice, corner to corner, for 96 triangles. Once the cutting is done, it's time to head to the sewing machine. Make sure to use 1/4 inch seam allowances. Make sure to sew all of these units the same exact way. I'm always going to have my medium light fabric on top. Lead the fabric into the machine with the flat edge versus triangle points. When you start with a flat edge, there is less chance for the fabric to get pulled into the bobbin area. Make sure the fabrics are right sides together. As I'm sewing triangles together, I have one set on the left and one set on the right. My left hand picks up the right side up triangle. My right hand picks up the wrong side up triangle, so that when I put the 2 triangles together to send them through the machine, they will be right sides together. I set aside the triangles that aren't already facing the right way. When I get to the end of the stack, I will have all those triangles that I set aside facing the same way. Then I can flip over the whole pile and just keep sewing. The most important thing is to make sure that you sew all of these the same way, or the next step won't work and the seam ripper will have to make an appearance. And nobody wants that. Be careful not to pull or stretch the bias edges. Just guide the fabric through the machine. Let the machine set the pace. You should have 96 of the triangle units. Cut them apart and head to the ironing board. You can press towards the darker fabric, or you can press your seams open. One of the testers pressed her seams open and was very happy with the result. Once they're all pressed, it's time to head back to the sewing machine. Now it's time to piece these triangle units together to make squares. When sewing the piece triangles together, I like to split the piles in half. The left pile is right side up and the right pile is right side down. That way, when I pick them up to put them together, I don't have to keep flipping one of them over. They're just that way when I pick them up. If you've pressed towards the darker fabric, your seams will nest together in the center. You can also pin for greater accuracy. Remember to just guide the fabric through the machine. Be careful not to pull or stretch the bias edges. Once you're done sewing the triangle units together, you should have 48 squares. Cut them apart and then head over to the ironing board. Using a Blade Saver thread cutter instead of a scissors will help you save time and not make your hands hurt. You can press all of these seams to one side, or you could press from the back side and press all of the seams open. Because I had pressed all my seams to one side, I was able to use my block lock ruler to help me trim off the dog ears. It also gave me an opportunity to make sure that all my squares measured 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Once you are done trimming, it's time to put the pieces in a bag with the clue and store it with clues 1 and 2 and the rest of the fabric. You can find the pattern in the files section of our Facebook group called The Quilted Forest Friends, or you can push pause and take notes, or push pause, screenshot it, and print it at home. See the description below for the Mystery Quilt video schedule. We hope that you will remember to hit the like button, leave us a comment, share with your quilting friends, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy quilting!